the ceremony, I feel a sense of pride.
The flag reminds me that when I grow up, I can do something for my country.
What really stirs me up is the rousing tune and the encouraging words, Majulah Singapura, Fort Singapore.
Sekolah, ready, go!
Patriotic, especially when I sing out the national anthem with the lyrics, for example, Majulah Singapura, go forth for Singapore as a nation, with Bahagia, which means peace and harmony.
And every day singing the pledge, I feel that I'm renewing my pledge of allegiance to Singapore and to be loyal to Singapore.
This flag-raising ceremony had its beginnings 29 years ago this day, when the red and white flag of Singapore was hoisted and unfurled for the first time to the accompaniment of the new state anthem, Majulah Singapura. The historic day on the 3rd of December 1959 witnessed the installation of a new head of state, the young Di Pertuan Negara, and signified Singapore's emergence from 140 years of colonial rule. Before a Padang rally, Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew said,
"Men have died for the honor and glory of their flag. Men have rallied and united in instinctive response to their anthems. Small country though we may be, it is nevertheless necessary that we develop these instinctive emotional responses, so vital to the survival of a people."
In 1959, Singapore had a population of 1.5 million people. Most of the adult citizens were immigrants who still owed their loyalties to their countries of origin. Fewer than half of the 600,000 voters then were not born and raised here. The newly elected government saw an urgent need to instill common loyalties and common values among the different ethnic groups. The new coat of arms, the state flag, and the national anthem were seen as symbols to evoke a sense of pride and belonging in a new generation of Singapore citizens. Dr. Toh Chin Chai, former Deputy Prime Minister who headed a committee which created these symbols, including the flag, recalls.
The whole idea then was to get a flag that was distinctively Singapore. And nobody else can confuse the Singapore flag with somebody else's flag. So I was in favor of one color, red. But I knew I would not be able to get away with it because, again, red at that time was associated with the Communist Party. In fact, left-wing trade unions used to irritate the police by flying pieces of red cloth outside the union premises. So you have to understand in the early 1950s, with the emergency on and armed struggle conducted by Malayan Communist Party, there were great sensitivities. We have to be very politically sensitive.
The committee finally chose red, symbolizing equality and brotherhood, and white, representing purity and virtue. It wanted to add 3 stars to symbolize democracy, justice, and progress. But there were problems.
I was a bit anxious that putting 3 stars on the Singapore flag will lead to uneasiness among some people that we are associated with the Malayan Communist Party, because the Malayan Communist Party also has 3 stars on the caps. Because of this, we added 2 more stars to represent prosperity and peace.
Then, a crescent moon was added to the flag.
That was an idea which I thought was quite good, because the crescent moon represents a newly independent country. At the same time, I showed the Malays, in particular the Muslims, that we are not a Chinese state.
The state arms was also decided at the same time. It consists of a lion and a tiger holding up a shield containing a crest of a crescent moon with 5 stars. The animals stand on a scroll bearing the words Majulah Singapura. The tiger and the lion symbolize Singapore's unity with the Federation of Malaya. The crescent moon shows that the state is new and rising. Together with the crest and flag, a national anthem was sought to replace God Save the Queen. A Malay composer, Zubir Said, was chosen to write the national anthem. Zubir Said was well known as a composer of patriotic songs, as well as songs for Cathay Chris, a local movie company.
My problem was how to compose a song that would be acceptable to all in the national language. The words had to be kept short. I had to take into consideration the conditions existing in Singapore at that time and in which direction it was heading. In those days, 1956, 1957, there was already the spirit of nationalism, the spirit to be a free people and an independent nation. I could feel it emerging.
It took Zubir Said, or Pak Zubir as he's affectionately known, 6 weeks to compose Majulah Singapura, a rousing march which means May Singapore prosper. The Singapore Chamber Ensemble first sang the original version of Zubir Said's composition at the Victoria Theatre.
Majulah Singapura was never really written as the Singapore national anthem. It was really written earlier on as a choral composition for another occasion, for the opening of the renovated Victoria Theatre. Mr. Zubir Said, who wrote that choral piece, was looking for a choir to sing this composition of his, and he was asked to approach me, which he did. The members of the choir sang it and enjoyed it immensely because the words were easy to learn and memorize, and the words reflected many of the sentiments of the time, sentiments calling for working together, moving forward together, standing together, and standing solidly as one people. When the government was looking for a suitable piece of music that they could use as a national anthem for Singapore, instead of commissioning somebody to write an anthem, they thought they could use this piece of music and invited Mr. Zubir Said to try and modify it so that it could be used as a national anthem.
The state flag, national emblem and the state anthem were unanimously adopted by MPs from both the ruling party and the opposition in the Legislative Assembly on the 11th of November 1959. The symbols were shown to the people for the first time at a gathering of 25,000 at the Padang to witness a significant milestone in our history. A 300-strong school choir, comprising students from the different language schools, led in the singing of the anthem. They were accompanied by members of the Singapore Police Band. Encik Karim bin Ali, who played the cymbals on that day, recalls.
After years of singing God Save the Queen, singing Majulah Singapura was the proudest moment. Being a Malay, the words has more meaning to me. I was determined to achieve for Singapore maju terus. In English, maju terus, it means we must look forward, but never look backward.
From that historic day onwards, there was a new song across the island. There was also the simple and striking flag of Singapore fluttering high all over the city. It's 29 years since the symbols of state were introduced to the public. Today, these symbols have become inextricably a part of our identity and destiny as the nation continues to strive for peace, progress, and prosperity.